We did it again. We're back. Sorry, guys, had some technical difficulties. I'm just turning down some stuff. Okay. Hey, Ian, Dan is in the house. It's 8:36. We're 6 minutes late because my phone didn't like the landscape view or portrait view or whatever, so I had to mess with it a little bit. I lost a few people. We got 3 in here. Hopefully everybody else shows up, but Ian Ward is here. Dan, my man, the man, my man, everyone's man, a real man's man, Dan Fryermuth in the house. I will wait to see who all plows in here. Before we had technical difficulties, we had 8 people here in 15 seconds, and then we lost all of them. So 4 are here now. We'll wait till everybody starts showing up. Hello to everybody who's here. Yeah, Ian, 3 wrestlers died today that I will talk about when more folks get here, but you're right. It was kind of a sad day for professional wrestling today. We got 5 people here. Who is here? Ian is here. Dan is here. Who else is in the house tonight? Joe Smith is here. What's up, Joe? I was going to I was hoping you were coming because I was going to announce something very special from Joe Smith. But I wanted to wait till a few more people got here. Christian Hafer has just joined Bay Bay. What is up, Mr. Hafer? I've got a crystal clear picture on the iPhone, but then when I look at the screen, it's a little pixelated. Are you guys getting a less than HD version of me? I'm good, man. I'm good, Christian. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming out and hanging out with us. I'm just waiting a little. 7 people have joined us. Ian Ward is in the house. Ian Ward already had, yeah, tad bit fuzzy. I know. I don't know what it is. I mean, it's like I said, the iPhone is crystal clear, but then the video over on the computer is a little fuzzy. I don't like that, Fryermuth. Ian Ward has hit me with the questions already. He wants to know if I have any 80s Topps baseball cards. Nope. I don't have any baseball cards, actually. The interest in that has kind of faded. Like every other kid on the planet, I collected them when I was, 12, 13, 14-year-old, and then I lost interest. No, I did announce it. I announced it on Facebook and well, I announced it on the Facebook, the channel for the page, And then I joined a few groups on Facebook too, a Western New York toy collectors group, and then like an 80s, just general fans of the 80s group, and I put it up there as well. Um, Bill Elson, yeah, man, we'll talk about what's going on. Um, Blake 1980, I have most of my LJNs still on card and a few loose. Very cool. Blake, are you new to the channel? If so, how did you find us? 13 people are in the house now. Ian Ward wants to know if I have any Hulk Hogan action figures. Yes, yes, I do. Ian, all right. So, or Blake is new. How'd you find us, man? How'd you find the New 80s Revolution? Harm Solid Snake says, hey, good evening, my sir. Good evening to you, my sir. And your name I don't recognize. Are you a new follower of the Revolution? And if so, how did you find me? But welcome. So 13 of us are here. So, new-ish. What up, AJ? 9021 Izzo. My man, It Cometh, is in the house. Harm Solid Snakes found me through David. That's cool. David's a good guy. AJ says, what up? What up to you, my friend? What up, It Cometh? And Blake says, if you type in LJN collections, I pop up. Well, that's good, because I am the king of the world when it comes to the LJNs. Man, I really do not like that blurry picture on the computer at all. I don't quite know how to change that for you guys. I don't know. I don't like it. Let's see. That's slightly better. No, it isn't. Hang with me, boys. We got some stuff to talk about tonight. Anyways, I want to do... is this a new setup? Says Joe. Yes, kind of. The room is in a bit of a transition. I got rid of the couch because it stunk like Seaver, and I got rid of it, and now I'm just trying to figure out what a good furniture setup is down here. Okay, so first of all, and I will get to your questions, obviously, as we always do. I will go through. No, it's not a new camera, Joe. It's the same iPhone I've been using, iPhone 8. So, what did that guy do to me? Oh, I don't know, Hafer. You should be well aware. Anyway, I wanted to start this thing off by thanking it's not overheated yet, every single one of you for getting me to 1,000 subscribers. Not only that, but 1,020 so far. So we nailed 1,000 about a week ago, and since then we've gotten 20 more, which kind of makes me think that YouTube is, you know, up to something fishy. It took me forever to go from 990 to 1,000 or 985 to 1,000. It took forever. And then once I hit 1,000, I got 20 more in like 6 days. So, you know, I don't know if they, you know, because once you hit 1,000, they start to review you for, to become a partner, which means you become monetized. So these videos will make me 7 cents per video. So I don't know if they try to hold people off from getting 1,000, and then once they're at 1,000, they're like, well, screw it, he's already there, so, you know, let him get what he wants. But anyway, thank you all very much for helping me get to 1,000 subscribers. That is 900 more than I ever expected when I started this channel. And I have gained more from making these videos than I ever thought I would. I have gained friends. I have gained, stuff added to the collection. But more importantly, I gained feedback from some of you guys that makes me feel like what I'm doing is really important. Even though it's not, I sit in a basement and talk about toys. But a lot of you guys have told me how important this channel is to you, or important, how important it is to relive your childhood. Some of you have started collections on your own because of this channel. Some of you have bought your unborn children stuff because of this channel. That's my man Bobby Jackhammer Campbell. But so, that's, again, I just wanted to say thank you for that. To make a Z-list YouTube celebrity feel important is awesome. So thank you for that. I'll keep hitting up your questions in a minute. The other thing I wanted to talk about before we just get into our usual fun, 3 wrestlers died today. The one that hits me the hardest is Nikolai Volkoff. Being exposed to the WWF in the 80s like I was, in fact 84 or 85, Nikolai Volkoff and the Iron Sheik were, aside from Roddy Piper, were kind of the main bad guys because they were not from the USA. And in the early 80s, to be the world's, most hated heel, all you had to do was be from another country and talk badly about the USA. And every wrestling organization had a Russian, every wrestling organization had an Iranian. Russians were much more common in wrestling. And Nikolai Volkoff, who was a legitimate, I don't think he was from Russia. I don't know exactly where he was from, but he was not from the US like most Russian characters are. But anyway, he was I watched him every week on television, teaming with the Iron Sheik, and I've met him. I've gotten a picture with him. I've had him sign my card at LJN, and just in May, a few months ago, he was wrestling. At 70 years old, he was still wrestling. He teamed up with Hacksaw Duggan in some indie fed, and and today we find out that he recently had a heart attack. Was required to have some surgery, refused the surgery, and was hospitalized, where he died. So Nikolai Volkoff has passed away. A lesser-known wrestler named Brickhouse Brown, a guy from Texas, world class. I think he wrestled in the UWF a little bit. Bill Watts, smaller, not indie feds, but smaller regional federations, has also passed away. But a very strange death, Brian Christopher, who you guys might remember teaming up with Scotty 2 Hotty in the WWF as Too Cool. But more known, or more something else he's known by, is that he's the son of Jerry the King Lawler. Brian Christopher, who was Grandmaster Sexay in the WWF, died of a suicide today. He was arrested for a DWI, was incarcerated, and hung himself in his jail cell today. Brian Christopher had a very, very kind of messed up life. It was a major, you know, some major problems with drugs and alcohol. In and out of jail, in and out of trouble. Not that suicide was inevitable, but you could kind of see this one coming a little bit. Nonetheless, sad. Brian Christopher, death by suicide. Nikolai Volkoff and Brickhouse Brown. 3 wrestlers gone today. So, we'll toss one back to those guys. Okay, go back to it. It Come a Fag has this shirt. Of course you do, because you're cool and I'm cool, and this is what cool people wear. Christian Hafer wanted to know why there's so much heat between my former partner Chris Seaver and I. There's no heat. I mean, he's doing his own show, which sucks, and has struggling to get 300 subs, and you know, whatever. No heat. Yeah, some of the originals on this channel. Bill Elson, Christian Hafer was here early. Big Beefcake Gaming was here. Big Money Roy, or Big Roy Money, just got in the house. Big Roy Money. One of my I started watching this guy on YouTube called Opie 0909 OPIE 0909, and he was pretty cool, and I started watching him early back in the day before I started doing these, and part of his crew, Big Roy Money, he promises to take me on a trip of Philly and go see all those Rocky locations, which I can't wait to do. Thank you for the congrats on 1,000. That was exciting. Christian wants to know, where's my other TV show on DVD video? You said you were coming 2 weeks ago. Man, you know, if I say something is coming 2 weeks ago, it means it's coming about 3 weeks from then. So it's, I wanted to do this first, and then tonight, tomorrow night, Tuesday night, I will film the second part of the TV shows on DVD. There'll probably be 3 or 4 parts. I got a lot of stuff to show you. Normal Joe is in the house. You're not late, man. We had some technical difficulties. We're just getting started. There's only 18 peeps in the house. I expect 5,000 soon. AJH 90210, which wrestler you want to meet next? Good year meeting Flair and Hogan. Yes, it was a freaking amazing opportunity to meet the 2 wrestlers that have ever mattered to me. Who do I want to meet next? I mean, I've met a lot of wrestlers. I mean, there was a period of time about 10 years ago where I would hit up every indie show that was local, that was bringing in somebody. So, you know, Shane Douglas, Nikolai Volkoff, like I said, X-Pac. You know, I went to legend shows. I went to the Hall of Fame. I've met Bruno. I've met Terry Funk. I would really like a group photo with the 4 horsemen. So maybe Arn, Flair, Tully, J.J. Dillon, Barry Windham I would love to meet. I'd like to get a group shot of Barry Windham and Mike Rotundo. I think that would be a pretty cool picture. I thought about Bret Hart. I don't know. You know, again, having met so many wrestlers and have so many pictures with them, you know, the Hulk Hogan and the Ric Flair photo got blown up and put in my theater room upstairs, framed and all that. So there's only a handful left that I'd really like to meet. Big Roy Money says, it's happening. Cheesesteaks are on the crew. Yeah, man, I'm telling you. I'm not going to go to Chiller this year because nobody's really all that impressive. They're in New Jersey. But RetroCon is in Pennsylvania, I think. Or is RetroCon in New Jersey? Where the hell's RetroCon? It might be New Jersey. But Chiller's in New Jersey. I don't know. The next convention that is in Pennsylvania, I am coming, and I am going to hang out with the Big Roy Money crew, and we are going to hit up the Rocky locations, and I'm going to eat some cheesecakes, and I'm going to drink some beers with the crew. NWO might be doing a reunion at Hogan Shop in Florida. That would be awesome. That's another good group photo I would like. Hogan, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash. I think I would be good. Maybe Sean Waltman. I've been watching some Sean Waltman shoots lately on YouTube, and I don't really mind the guy. I kind of like Sean Waltman now. His shoots are okay. What up, buddy? What up, Travis? Welcome, Travis Tubbs. Getting any more of the retros? HBK, Kurt Angle, Chris Jericho are coming out in September, says Christian Hafer. Yeah, probably not any of those guys. But the next round of retros, after the Sheamus and whoever, Iron Sheik is actually getting a retro that I saw from San Diego Comic-Con. So that would be the next retro figure that I get, would be the Iron Sheik Mattel retro. Ian the Wrestling King says, wave to Jason. I am Jason, so I will wave to me. Joe Benda says Bret Hart would be so boring to meet. Yeah, I agree with that. You know, that would be a boring meet. I don't really need to meet Bret Hart. AJ says RetroCon in Pennsylvania. Okay, so there you go, Big Roy Money. RetroCon in October or November, I believe, is in Pennsylvania, and I am coming to RetroCon this year, and I want cheesecakes. All right. My man Ring Skirts is in the house, the most talented member of the Revolution when it comes to making stuff for your wrestling figures. Ring Skirts is in the house. Ring Skirts hopefully going to RetroCon this year as well. Christian Hafer, no HBK, how dare you? It's a possibility. I don't love the outfit that they put him in. It's kind of a newer outfit. You know I'm an old school guy. I'd like him in a little bit of the sexy boy 1994 outfit, but we'll see. It cometh a egg. Come visit the Colorado Rockies. I agree on X-Pac shoots. It cometh, man, I would love someday to just hit the road and come hang out with all you guys. Just crash on your couches for a while. And Colorado would be a pretty good trip for multiple different reasons. You never know, it cometh. You know, I might debut on your show, on your faceless show. I might be a pair of hands opening up some baseball cards on your show. You never know. RetroCon is not in Pittsburgh. It's in, not Pittsburgh. I don't know where RetroCon is, but it's somewhere. It Cometh says, I want to meet HBK just to tell him that God's not fooled by his BS. I don't know. He cut his hair. HBK cut his hair, and I think Oaks, thank you, Ring Skirts, Oaks, PA. HBA cut his hair off, and I think he's one of those guys that probably should have just rocked the long hair forever, because now he looks like an insurance salesman. Normal Joe says, hey, Jason, I was eating dinner at a restaurant, and next door was an antique store, so I walked in and saw a shelf with King Kong Bundy, LJN, a Blackstrap Andre, and a couple WCW figures. I asked. You asked what? Oh, she said 25. Well done. Normal Joe just got a Blackstrap Andre for $25 from an antique shop. You paid about $80 less than you should have. Congratulations, Normal Joe. That is a major score. Bill Elson wants to meet The Rock. Yeah, I think that might be tough to do these days. Yes, I agree, Christian. He's 53. It was about time he cut his hair. AJ says 25 years since Kerry Von Erich died. Yeah, man. And, you know, tonight we might just throw around some talk on some scandals, some wrestling scandals. We might start with Kerry Von Erich or the whole Von Erich family. We'll get into that in a little bit. I'll just rip through some of these first. Is Joe Smith still here? Joe Smith, if you are here, let me know. Yeah, Ringskirt says incredible. I'm thinking that's for the $25 Blackstrap Andre. Joe Smith is in here. Real quick, guys. I'll come back to the questions in a minute. I want to personally thank Joe Smith. So a couple months ago, Joe said, asked me if I, basically shot me a list of Nintendo games that he was getting rid of. And I have, again, I've kind of lost count, but I've got about 415, 412 Nintendo games. And Joe Smith said, hey, do you have any of these? And he sent me a list of Nintendo games. And surprisingly, there were some on the list that I needed. There were 6 on the list that I needed. And I asked him, how much? What did you want for them? Because I'll pick up, Nintendo games when I can. I don't really see them out much. I'm not really looking for them these days, but so when I go to toy shows and stuff, I'm not really buying Nintendo games. Other people buy them for me. So anyway, Joe Smith said, I don't want anything for them. I'm sending them to you. And of course, that always blows my mind. So Joe Smith put 6 Nintendo games, sent them to yours truly, and no, the live stream picture is blurry for some reason. I don't know why, and now it's spinning on my end. Hopefully it's still available on your end. I don't know why that happens, but anyway, Joe Smith sent me 6 Nintendo games, and it blows my mind every time. So thank you very much, Joe, for that. Thank you. I'm overly grateful to you for doing that. You people, nobody needs to do that. You don't need to do that. Nobody needs to send me stuff, but he sent me 6 Nintendo games. So I am humbled and grateful, and they have gotten a shelf space. So thank you again very much. Ian the Wrestling King wants to meet Sting. I think that's a good one. I would probably go for Sting. Ikamov says Mikasa is Sukasa. Thanks, man. Someday, you never know. Brian Short in the house. What up, Jason? Good to see you back. I'm actually meeting Boring Brett in 2 weeks. Well, have fun with that. Hopefully you guys can engage in a very stimulating conversation with Boring Brett. But that's a good meet. That's a really good, that's a good name. I'm, boring and all, that's a pretty good name. Ringskirt's AWA collection is now up to 17, and he blames me. You should blame me. It is my fault. It's my fault for getting a lot of you guys interested in stuff, just like Devin Cutmore, who's not here yet. But I have pretty much ruined his bank account with my collection. Big Money Roy is heading to work. I'll catch the rest of the epicness later. Sonny was right. The working man's a sucker. You are a sucker, Big Money Roy. You're supposed to be here with us, but go to work, make that big money, and maybe we'll see you in Oaks, PA at the end of the year for Retro Kizan. Jesus is my king says, I spent thousands of dollars on my LJN collection thanks to this channel. What do you mean? What did you do? Are you buying carded stuff? How'd you spend thousands? Bill Elson says, am I a fan of Queen? Yeah. I am not going to be, I am not a vinyl record, LP. I'm not a you know, I'm not going to be a nut about vinyl, but I wanted a record player, and I recently bought a record player, and I've just been grabbing some records here and there, and I'm kind of on the lookout for, you know, a Queen's Greatest Hits album. I also wish that the Ric Flair was on the boots, Hafer. I think that would have made a perfect figure. Travis Tubbs found my old box of wrestling figure toys back, and I kept them all from as a kid for some reason. It was cool to look back at them. Yeah, man, it's always cool to find stuff. That's one thing that I never got to experience too much, and that's, you know, original toys from my childhood. I've had to buy all this stuff back because you know, I moved a million times, so every time I moved, I would lose something. So to go and find your old stuff is pretty awesome. Take it from somebody who didn't get to do that, and that's why I'm probably saving way too much of my kids' stuff that I should, because, you know, I'd like him to, or them, two of them, I'd like them to, you know, stumble across their old stuff someday. But knowing my kid, it's probably never going to leave his room anyway. You know, he'll probably have it all on display. Jesus is my king says carded and customs, 4 rings, steel cages, accessories, etc. I am sorry, man. Put it as a tax write-off. Blame the new 80s revolution. Oh, yes, ring skirts. I did. I saw that post on Wrestling Fix. Zack Ryder, who obviously you guys know is a current WWE wrestler, is probably the world's biggest wrestling fan. And since he's rich, he also gets to buy whatever the heck he wants. And Zack Ryder has an amazing collection of unreleased stuff, prototypes. Apparently the LJN Kamala was going to come with a mask, and Zack Ryder has it. Obviously it's unreleased. If you do find those pictures on WrestlingFigs.com, you will see not a good picture of, but you will see an Elizabeth prototype in a different pose than the one that was released, which blows my mind. And I'm pretty sure that someday Zack Ryder is going to have, you know, Bad News Brown and Brother Love and the Bushwhackers sitting somewhere in his house. He will find them somewhere. He will dig them up from under a mountain, and he will own them someday. Oh, Big Beefcake in the house. I just saw you. What's up, man? My main man, Big Beefcake. Actually, I love every single one of you. I mean it, I do. But the one person that I'm probably going to see in person first, unless I run into you guys somewhere, unless I unless you guys come out to Oaks, Pennsylvania, and hang out with me at RetroCon. But the one person that I am probably going to sleep on their couch is Big Beefcake Gaming. So get the house ready. I know you just watched it, but get the Friday the 13th marathon fueled up. I'm coming over. We're going to make taco, pizza, ravioli, ziti, you know, whatever combination of food you make. We'll wash it down with some delicious Cokes. None for you. You can have water. And we're going to hang, my brother. I hope you are feeling great. I have not seen that video, 90210, the YouTube video. Ric Flair goes sneaker shopping with Complex. I will check that out so we can giggle about it together. Bill Elson is talking to ring skirts. That's good. I like my friends to communicate with each other. Eric Munoz is in the house. I didn't spend thousands, but I spent close to it. But getting the LJN that I never had has been incredible. Like my Hacksaw Jim Duggan with the 2x4 for $280. Well, you bought a loose Duggan with 2x4 for $280 or carded Duggan? Tell me, Eric. Jesus is my king. Does anybody have a complete He-Man Masters of the Universe figure collection here in this chat? Just curious. How much will that cost me to get the entire collection next on my agenda? Thanks. Well, I don't know, guys. You can answer that for him. I do not. I once had a pretty extensive He-Man collection. So let's throw out some numbers. It's so hard to say. You could buy the figures individually and complete and pay, you know, I don't know, $5 to $40 or $50 for some He-Man figures. You could find somebody who's selling a complete collection and they let it go for $2,000 or $3,000. I don't know. Either way, I mean, there's some pieces that are impossible. You're just not gonna. You're not going to. You know, unless you want to spend big money. There's some He-Man pieces that are just, you know, people, you know, you don't have them. They're too much money. But I don't know, a couple thousand maybe. I don't know, a little bit more. Where are we? I'm missing all you guys. Christian Hafer. I bought a $70 WWF toy box from 1991 with the Rockers, Hogan, Warrior, and Legion of Doom on it. Fits. Yes, I know what that is. It's a wooden box, I think. I have a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one down here. Those are cool. Harm Solid Snake. It's a true friend who'll open their home. Respect. Yeah, man. You know, my home is open. I'm coming to your homes. You're going to open them up. We're going to hang out on the couch, play some Nintendo, talk some wrestling, do a little live video from on location at your house. Someday. You know, that's kind of the ultimate goal of this is to you know, connect with you guys. Silky Johnson says, "Yowza." I don't know who you are, Silky Johnson. Are you new? Are you new to the channel, Silky Johnson? Who are you? For those of you who are just joining us, thank you all for getting me to 1,000 subscribers. That allowed my channel to automatically be reviewed by YouTube to see if I qualify to be monetized, to see if I fit the, you know, I don't know, if I can be so honored to be chosen by YouTube to get paid to make these videos. That's right, guys, paid. No, not a Patreon account, but actually paid by YouTube to make these videos. They have not yet approved me, but when they do, we'll have another celebration and we'll all share the 11 cents a month I will make from YouTube. So Silky Johnson is new, but we'll get to that in a minute. Big Beefcake says, "Sounds like a plan. I may sneak a Coke." Sneak a Coke. I'll be there. I'll be there. If something happens, I can, you know, I'm there to help. And if, you know, if we lose you because of the Coke, I'll make sure all your stuff has a good home. Devin Cutmore is finally here. Devin Cutmore. What is up, Devin? Welcome to the big show. We are glad you are here. Devin Cutmore has probably been the person who has started his collection. His collection has like gone nuts since finding this channel. He credits / blames me for his awesome collection, and he's into a line that is ridiculously expensive. He's into Sectars, and if you check out Sectars boxed, it's an expensive line, and Devin is crushing that. Travis Tubbs, yeah, I was pretty excited that I found all the packaging that they came in, and the card backs brought back memories. That's awesome, man. Again, yes, to find all that stuff, lucky man. Silky Johnson says, "I'm working on He-Man after LJN is done." That's cool. I have, oh, that's what I wanted to tell you guys. Somebody asked earlier if I had any new stuff to show off. So obviously I mentioned the Nintendo games that Joe Smith sent me. Amazing. Xavier Sherwood has dropped some stuff in the mail for me, some pretty cool stuff. What else? Oh, I don't know. Anyway, what I did get was finally, I have not completed the Ghostbusters collection, but I have completed the figure collection. And we will go through that in detail in an upcoming video. But I have gotten all of the Ghostbusters figures. The last figure I needed was Power Pack Heroes Janine, and I grabbed her today, overpriced on eBay. She does come with Power Pack Hero. What's the Rick Moranis character's name? Lewis. So it was two figures. It was Power Pack Janine and Power Pack Lewis. I already have Lewis, so Power Pack Lewis will be given away to any of you guys for free who happens to be collecting Ghostbusters. If you need a Power Pack Lewis, Power Pack Hero Lewis, let me know. But I have completed the Ghostbusters figure collection. That means I'm going to move on and grab some of the vehicles, and then and you know, there's a lot of little gimmicky ghosts that I don't know if I'm gonna go and get. The figures I got out of the way, the vehicles I'm gonna get out of the way, and then we might stop there with the Ghostbusters and move on. I really want to start collecting the Rambo figures, and then you guys know we're gonna start messing around with G.I. Joe. A lot of you guys want Lewis. Big Beefcake says, just promise me you'll cut an Ultimate Warrior-esque promo at my funeral. Oh, of course. I mean, that goes without saying, man. AJ, whoop, whoop. Whoop, whoop. Gonna be watching the Bruce Willis roast tomorrow night. A good month for movies, too. See Mission Impossible 6, Skyscraper, First Purge, Equalizer 2. Haven't seen any of those because I'm trapped in a decade that you guys all know about. But yes, the Comedy Central roasts can be hilarious if Lisa Lampanelli's doing them, and if that guy with the afro, the curly hair, I forget his name, Jeff Ross, and that chick, that hot comedian, that blonde. I just don't know names. She happens to kill it too at roasts. But what are they going to do with Bruce Willis? They're going to make fun of his age the whole time, and they're going to throw in some Demi Moore jokes. Harm Solid Snake. So refreshing not to see any Funko Pops. Well, they're upstairs in the theater room. If you're new to the channel, Harm Solid Snake, I hated them when they first came out. I wanted nothing to do with them. And then I started grabbing some. I'm very picky when it comes to Pops. You know, for example, I've got the Golden Girls. I've got, you know, a lot of the horror ones. The Karate Kid, Back to the Future. So really picky when it comes to Pops. I don't, they have to be from my area of interest. Yeah, Demi Moore is in the roast. I saw that. Devin Cutmore, did you hear about Brian? Yeah, man. We just talked about it, Devin. I opened the show with that. For those who are new, rest in peace, Nikolai Volkoff. That is sad. That's another LJN character who's dead. I really dread the day when I look at those figures and nobody left. You know, nobody is alive anymore, and we're getting there. Brian Christopher unfortunately committed suicide today. Apparently hanging himself in his jail cell. Brian Christopher, a very troubled life over the past, you know, decade or two. Drugs, alcohol, financial stuff. I mean, just a sad ending for Brian Christopher. Ian the Wrestling King found a Walkman. That is very cool. I have one over there in the package. I was at a flea market this morning, and I almost bought a tape recorder, one of those long tape recorders, long rectangle ones, and it had a box with it. And it was like $12, and I only had like $15 left, and I didn't want to, so I almost grabbed an 80s style tape recorder today, but I didn't. That's okay, Harm Solid Snake. I believe you're new and you've already insulted me. Brickhouse Brown passed away as well. Yes, Eric. There was some confusion about that. They reported him dead a week ago, but apparently he woke up, kind of came back from the dead, and has died. Today, Brickhouse Brown, Nikolai Volkoff, and Brian Christopher have all left the wrestling world. Gotta go for a bit. Okay, Eric or Bill, come on back when you're ready. Travis Tubbs, sorry, I know you go out to a lot of toy shows. My daughter is wanting the TMNT sewer layer. What's a good price on that? Sewer layer playset, man. I don't know how many pieces came with that, so I don't know if it's too difficult to get complete or not. I don't remember that having like a lot of accessories. I don't know, $30 for a turtle sewer lot, maybe less. Joe Smith says, "Do you have all the LJN figures?" Yes, yes. Not counting, some silly paint variants. Jesse Ventura with pink tights, Jesse Ventura with really pink tights. I didn't do that. But yes, I do have a complete run of LJN figures, including the Hasbro Sergeant Slaughter. Oh, Christian paid $100 for the turtle sewer layer. All right. Maybe it's more than I thought. Jesus is my King 777. Having all the LJNs is pretty easy, but having all the different versions, many people don't have. Yeah, I mean, there's so many. The Hart Foundation has a couple different color variations. Jesse Ventura, like I mentioned. Jimmy Hart has a version with a heart in the megaphone and in just a red megaphone. Bobby Heenan has a couple different variants. Captain Lou has a variant. So yeah, there's lots and lots of little subtle differences that people could go crazy. Corporal Kirshner actually has 3 variants, which is pretty interesting. He's got totally clean shaven. He's got one with unpainted stubble, and then he has one with a beard. So 3 Corporal Kirshner variants. Pretty interesting. Christian Hafer says, no, a sewer is not $30. Well, then I will not sell my sewer for $30. Thank you for that. All right, so we're caught up. I ran into Chris Seaver at Niagara Falls Comic-Con when I met Flair. And we, it was awkward. We said hello and then kind of moved on. I ran into him at Niagara Falls. I think he was there to meet somebody. I think he talked about meeting somebody. I was there obviously to meet Flair. Don't admit it. I'm not admitting to murder. I have just not a shit talking question. I'm not, I'm good. Obviously my stuff has grown. We've hit the 1,000. I've got an amazing community out there that follows me, and you are all my friends. I'm just wondering if any of you guys have seen his stuff. I know that he went off and did pretty much the same exact thing we were doing, just with him running it. So I haven't seen it. I've seen like, I'll get there, AJ. Hang on. Uh, has anybody seen it? I don't know. I don't know what he's doing. I know he's doing similar stuff. Um, I know he's got a little bit of production. I know he's got some, some campiness because that's kind of his style. I haven't seen it. Is it good? I hope he's doing well. I know he doesn't have 1,000 subscribers like we do. All right, where are we at here? Eric Munoz says, heard a podcast where these toy collectors interviewed an LJN employee and he said they made a killer con. Yep, I heard that too. I listened to that podcast. I think one of you guys sent it to me in a link. I listened to it, and yeah, Killer Khan was going to be produced as an LJN, which is extremely exciting. And in some very early production notes, I guess there was, and these are kind of well known and seen on the intraweb, but there was these, sheets that got sent out to retailers announcing basically who was in the line, and those sheets mentioned the Haiti Kid. So at one point, pre-production prototype, never produced, but the Haiti Kid, who was well, back then they were called midget wrestlers. So the Haiti Kid was a possible LJN, but Killer Khan was also penciled in, which would have been very cool. No, there was no murdering of anybody. There was an awkward handshake, and then we moved on. Jesus is my king. Still hard to believe there will be no more Toys R Us stores anymore. That was my childhood. I agree 1,000,000%. Both stores in my area are officially gone, and yeah, that's kind of hard to wrap your head around. But Toys R Us Canada is going strong, and in November, yours truly will be driving to Canada and hitting up the closest Toys R Us to Rochester, New York, and filling up the car, because there's no way I can go without a Toys R Us trip. So basically, I bring Santa with me. I think we got in trouble last time for talking about that, so I'll move on. But anyway, I'm headed to Toys R Us Canada someday. AJ wants to know if Seaver and I kissed in Niagara Falls. Yes. Yeah, of course we did. He sucks at it. Sorry. The Fully Posable podcast is what they had an interview with an LJN employee or sculptor, and that is kind of I would love to sit down for hours with a former LJN employee who still has the memories of the Wrestling Superstars line. The thing that we forget is that these guys worked at this company, 30 years ago, and probably don't care about the LJN figures as much as we do. So I would guess that a lot of their memories have long faded by now about that particular line. But we act like they, like they love them as much as we do, so they've got all these details. So I'm guessing some of these guys, when they're interviewed, really have to think about, what was made or what was supposed to be made. Thanks, Joe Smith. I'm glad it's just me now, too. Devin Cutmore says, yeah, F the old host. There is a reason he only has under 300 subscribers. The one time, well, he got over 300 now. He's got like 302, so good for him. Normal Joe, how many wrestlers have you met, Jason? Wow, I don't know, 100? Like I said, there was a period of time I started wanting to meet them around age 23 or 24 was the first time I went off somewhere and met a wrestler. And it was actually George the Animal Steel. That was the first wrestler I'd ever met at like an autograph show. And it was surreal. It was mind blowing to have met George the Animal Steel. Um, and then that kind of like ignited something in me. So I went all around, um, you know, meeting wrestlers. There was a card shop in Buffalo, a sports card shop in Buffalo that would always bring wrestlers in. So I would go all the time and meet people. Indie shows in town, we have like two or three indie feds, and they would always bring in names, either, you know, legends or guys from TNA or, you know, Ring of Honor back in the day. So I've met a lot of guys, and I've got a lot of pictures. You know, that was kind of my thing, was to, I didn't care much about autographs. I was more interested in taking a picture with the guy, and I've got a ton of those. But the problem is, in all of those pictures, I weigh like 140 pounds. so I so I look like a tool in those pictures, so I don't really display them. Devin, come on over to Canada Toys R Us. It's coming. It's coming. October, November, I will be in Canada at the closest Toys R Us to me. So I'm guessing somewhere, I don't know, Ontario, maybe outside of Niagara Falls. I don't know. But I'm coming to Toys R Us Canada in October or November. Joe Smith says toy nowadays are made cheap. My kids really didn't play with them like I did when I was a kid. Yeah, you know, of course they are. I mean, everything's cheap now. Travis Tubbs, thanks for the advice on the sewer playset. Sounds like about $100, but if I can find one for 30, that would be kick-ass. Yeah, I was a little off, I guess. I'm sorry about that. I don't know. Hit up a toy show, man. Hit up those toy shows and see what you can find. Go on eBay and search all the completed auctions. I'm guessing one with box or in box is obviously going to be more. Let me say hello to Harm Solid Snake real quick. Thanks, man. You got to go, but thanks. You, like I said, you're a relatively new subscriber, so thank you for hanging out. Thanks for coming on the live show. We do these every once in a while, every couple months or so. So join us again. Let's keep going. Let's get me back up to these questions. Eric Munoz says, who's the most random and rare wrestler you met? Oh, that's good. We went to my old best friend and I went to a TNA pay-per-view in Detroit. I think it was Bound for Glory, and it was in Detroit, and it was when Sting won the title from Jarrett, I think, maybe. But during that pay-per-view, we met the Naturals, who were in TNA at the time. Chase Stevens and somebody. No, not Seaver Christian. This is a long time ago. Seaver was not even really a friend. I mean, we never really did friend things together. We just did this show together. It was kind of hard to hang out as a friend. But Chase Stevens and Andy Douglas or somebody, the Naturals in TNA was kind of an odd meet. And I remember Norman Smiley was walking around because he was like an agent for TNA, so I got to meet Norman Smiley. So some of these kind of obscure names. Devin Cutmore, Brave Star collection, too short of complete, new in box. First collection will complete, almost there. Devin is just a freak when it comes to going out and buying stuff. He just goes and buys it. I mean, Brave Star is an extremely difficult collection to complete price-wise. Sectars are extremely difficult to complete price-wise. And Devin is just mopping it up. So congratulations to you. It does my heart very proud. Ring Skirt says, did you ever have a wrestler meeting that frightened you? New Jack was cold as ice and scared the biscuits out of me. Yeah, New Jack Wood. Um, oh, that's a good one. And I think maybe I got to think about it. Oh man. Oh yeah. Okay, this is a good one. I went to the federation called the IWC, and it's in Pennsylvania, or it was in Pennsylvania, and they would do these legend shows, and I ended up being friends with the gym teacher of the school that would host the event. So this guy named Todd was the basketball coach, not the gym teacher, the basketball coach, and he would help organize these IWC legend shows. And I remember one night or one show before the there was a pretty well known promoter who Norm Connors, I think, was the promoter who took over the IWC, but prior to him there was some other schmo running these shows. And apparently the promoter skipped out of town without paying the guys. And I foolishly, I hung out after the show, and afterwards, Tony Atlas and Greg Valentine were standing around, really not happy that they weren't paid. And I went, I went up to them and asked them to take a picture. And Tony Atlas told me to just get the hell out of here. Because I was terrified of Tony Atlas because he hadn't gotten paid, and me being like a 23-year-old dumbass tried to get a picture with him. So Andy Douglas, yes, was the natural. Thank you. So yeah, Tony Atlas scared me. Travis Tubbs says, "Have you been to any new movies lately that stood out for you?" No, I don't. I don't watch movies. I don't watch new stuff. I know that sounds really lame, and I'm probably missing out on some good stuff. But I don't. I don't go to the movies, and I don't see new stuff. I think the next movie I might go see is Creed 2, just because it's Rocky. So. Yes, that was the Samoans group, Ring Skirts. It was. Afa was running the show, and Samu was there. Yeah, so I'm Afa ended up paying all the guys out of his pocket. I remember hearing. So yes, that was the exact show. Yes. I'm catching up. Big Wiggle. Christian Hafer says, "You look so close at the Christmas episode, exchanging gifts and stuff." Yeah, man. I mean, we were, but I don't know. Chris. I'm not a Chris. Chris is part of a crew. Chris has like a crew, and he's had. Chris likes to have 139 friends, and he loves them all the same, and whatever. I'm a loner, man. I'm like, give me 3 or 4 good friends or a whole bunch of YouTube people, and I'm good. I really couldn't play in that whole big gang thing. So, yeah, whatever. I think Big Beefcake is leaving. Man, good luck. Wait. Did you say radiation? Let me go back and look at that. Radiation? I thought that you were. I thought you were just doing chemo, man. Is radiation new? Is that something that you needed to get new? Yeah. Well, good luck with that, man. I love you, brother. Good luck with that. Seriously, I've been a fan of yours. Just watching you just hang out and be super chill, and you're just a good guy. So good luck with all that crap, man. I'm thinking about you, man. Let's see. All right, Devin's going to meet me at the Toys R Us in Canada. I sure hope so. That would be great. Devin Cutmore says, I switched a bad addiction for a good one. Another reason why I do this. I mean, you know, yeah, Devin, I know, you know, I know your story. Or you told me your story. And for you to, you know, kick one habit, obviously a very destructive and unhealthy habit, for you to kick that habit and then throw yourself into toy collecting, that's all right. And if my channel had anything to do with that, I am beyond honored and humbled. So thank you very much for that. Stevie Richards was the friendliest wrestler I ever met, says It Cometh Egg. Yeah, I've heard that. Normal Joe says, what was the worst meet and greet you wanted like the wrestler was a jerk? What was the worst meet and greet you want to like the wrestler was a jerk? Oh, I think that says that I went to where the wrestler was a jerk. Meet and greet with a jerky wrestler. Well, I mean, he wasn't a jerk, but Virgil. I've told this story before. I was going to meet, one of my very, very early meets was Sergeant Slaughter at a store in Buffalo, at a sports card store in Buffalo. And this was really early. This was like probably the second wrestler I'd ever met. So when I got there, I obviously didn't know the Virgil story and Virgil's legacy of pretty much being everywhere, trying to hawk his autograph. But so I get to meet Sergeant Slaughter, and I'm standing in line, and Virgil is there, and he's got a table set up outside of the sports card shop. And again, as somebody who hadn't met anybody before, I was like, oh my God, it's Virgil. I was just as excited to meet Virgil that I was Sergeant Slaughter. So I went to him, and I, you know, for like, you know, I don't know, $10 or something, I bought a 8x10 autographed Virgil card and took a picture with him. And at the time I had a replica Winged Eagle championship belt, the one that Sergeant Slaughter had. And at one point in time, they were changing the strap color. So this was a white one. So this is a white replica Winged Eagle belt. And I wanted Sergeant Slaughter to sign it, obviously. So that's why I went to the card, to the autograph signing. Well, Virgil, at some point, nobody was buying any Virgil merchandise. So he started walking around and hanging out with everybody in line. And he got to me and said, oh man, let me see your belt. And I showed him the belt, and he pulled out a marker, and he got ready to sign my white strapped Winged Eagle belt that had no other autographs on it. It was just for Slaughter. And I said, well, I go, well, hang on, that's, you know, I just want Sergeant Slaughter to sign it. So Virgil flipped the belt over on the back and wrote Virgil WWE or WWF on the belt and handed it back to me. No charge. So I'm like, okay, thanks. So Virgil signed a championship belt on the back for no reason, and thankfully didn't sign the front. And yeah, hey, for Sergeant Slaughter wore the purple strap, and I wonder if he also had a light blue strap, or was that just Ultimate Warrior? For some reason, this was on a white strap, and I thought it just looked cool, so I bought it. I don't have it anymore. It's long gone. Bearded Slasher's in the house. I have not heard from you in a long time, my man. How are you doing? My cousin Dennis was the jobber that New Jack destroyed with a chair. Really? Says Eric Munoz, on TV or at a house show or what? That's interesting. Bearded Slash, you should definitely watch Ready Player One, 80s nostalgia overload. Yeah, I would, I will. That's, yeah, I'll check that movie out. I heard it got pretty, great reviews. Let's see. Let's catch up here. Hmm. Brian Short, I actually watch his channel here and there. I met him and Tansky through your channel, and they've always been nice to me. But if I knew he'd shit on you, then that would change because your channel is why I'm here. Yeah, no, don't, look, he's, Normal Joe's got to go. See you later, brother. Thanks for hanging out with us. Chris is, Chris is fine. Chris, Chris was used to his way of doing stuff. I mean, he's made movies for 20 years or whatever, and always had a little following, and he was the director and the writer, so he was in charge. He was the boss, and I think that's the way he wants to keep it. And I didn't want that. I wasn't. So Tansky's great. I love Tansky. Tansky and I have kind of a long sort of connected / disconnected history together. I've known Tansky, or known of Tansky, basically since I was 12. So I love that kid. He's a good guy, and I think he does some stuff on Chris's channel too, which is fine. I'm just having a blast over here with you guys. This is the only way this channel will stay going forward. It will only always be just me. Yes, of course I will see the new Halloween, Mr. Hafer. In fact, I invite you to come to town and watch it with me. Eric Munoz, do you go to Nick Tahoe's in Rochester? My buddy swears by it. Yeah, man, you can't, that's like saying, do you go get cheesesteaks in Philly? You can't live in Rochester and not go to Nick Tahoe's. In fact, it's kind of like, meh, who cares? For us anyways. But Nick Tahoe's is kind of a, well, it's a restaurant, but they produce something called a garbage plate, which is kind of infamous or famous. Basically a garbage plate is like 2 cheeseburgers, no bread, 2 cheeseburgers, 2 hot dogs, home fries, macaroni salad, hot sauce, hot meat sauce, not like red hot, but meat sauce, meat hot sauce, onions, mustard, and ketchup, pretty much in a pile. In fact, the correct way to do it would be to get it in a to-go container and then mix it up. The garbage plate is the, Nick Tahoe's, they're busy at lunch, but they're most busy at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning when everybody's getting out of drinking a whole lot, and they go and they soak it all up with a garbage plate. And Nick Tahoe's originated it here in Rochester, but every restaurant in the world, not every restaurant in Rochester, also has some version of the garbage plate. It cometh egg, going to the National Sports Card Convention in a couple days. Need any wrestling cards to finish any checklist? No, I don't, man. I don't. I've got like the original 84 or 85 top set. That's all I got. That's all I need. I know you are the baseball / sports card king of the world, so have yourself a blast at that convention, my friend. Bearded Slasher says, do you think CM Punk will ever return to WWE? I mean, at some point, you got to think he's gonna. I'm not a mixed martial artist, so who am I to say? But he's not good. I don't think the guy's ever going to actually win an MMA fight. I'm sure if UFC doesn't let him fight again, some company like Bellator will pick him up, and I don't know, but you got to kind of think maybe he might want to go make some money. So, and the fact that he's been so vocal against wrestling doesn't mean anything to me, because it's wrestling, and they're carnies and they're shtick and they're con men. So, of course he's not going to say he's going to go back to wrestling, because when he does go back, it'll make the surprise all that more. So, do I think he's going to? Probably. I'd say yes more than no. Retro Crunch in the house. Love me some Sergeant Slaughter, all due to G.I. Joes. Yeah, when those cartoons, that era of G.I. Joe when Slaughter was on the cartoon was really exciting to watch. The Slaughters, what was it, Slaughter's Marauders or Slaughter's Heroes, or he had his own little crew in G.I. Joe. That was pretty awesome. And the figures are great. The G.I. Joe Slaughter figures I love. Let's see. Eric Munoz says, I met Virgil at Halloween Havoc 97. He was a douche, but I met Dr. D. David Schultz, and he was super cool. David Schultz has a few new shoots out on YouTube, and he's selling some books. He seems like I'm sure he's wonderful to fans, but he's got a new book out, and he's selling that book because he's talking a lot of junk about people, and it's kind of fun to see. But yeah, I'm sure he's a good guy. I would love to meet him. Devin says that's his trick. He's ruined many a belt, but usually he makes you pay. Yeah, he ruined that one. Let's see. David Torok is in the house. My man DT. Hello, sir. David has seen Ready Player One, says, I'll love it. Nice to see you in the stream, my friend. Hope you are doing awesome. Christian Hafer is going to go shower. Well, that's good to know, Mr. Hafer. You got to clean. You got to clean yourself. You got to clean the nether regions. Bearded Slasher, I think WWE would easily make $1 million in one night off of Punk merchandise. I know, if they could keep that quiet. I remember when Brock Lesnar came back the second time around and interrupted Cena. The eruption for him showing up was huge, and it was already leaked. If you can keep a secret in wrestling, CM Punk coming back might be that secret to try to keep, because I think it would blow things apart for a period of time. Travis Tubbs says the Virgil story was great. Do you have any more good stories with any other pro wrestlers? Oh yeah, I told one a while back, way in the early days of the channel. I actually got to buy Jimmy Snuka and Paul Orndorff dinner. And by the way, I can see the computer here, in the picture, the quality is garbage, and I don't know why it's so terrible, but it's garbage. It's all pixelated. I have no idea why. Yeah, no clue why it's so crappy. Anyway, yeah, I got to buy Jimmy Snuka and Paul Orndorff dinner. I was at the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame a couple of, I don't know, 10 years ago or so, 8 years ago. I went with my father-in-law. We were eating dinner in the hotel. Jimmy Snuka and his wife were eating dinner. Paul Orndorff walked in, sat down with them. And that's funny, Bearded Slasher. And I was sitting right across from them, like at another table. And I had a few beers, of course, so I was feeling loose. And I told the waitress that I wanted their bill, And so she gave it to me, and I ended up paying $89 for Paul Orndorff, Jimmy Snuka, and Jimmy Snuka's wife to eat dinner. And I could have just, like an anonymous hero, I could have walked out of there and kept it secret, but I didn't. I went up to their table and said, I just wanted to tell you guys that your dinner's paid for. And they said, by who? And I said, by me. And Jimmy Snuka and Paul Orndorff jumped up out of the booth, and they were hugging me, and they were shaking my hands, and they were very grateful. And in fact, the next day when I met Orndorff at the autograph signing, he signed my 8x10, and at the very bottom of it, he said, P.S. Thanks for dinner. So obviously that's, you know, an amazing 8x10 to have. The thanks for dinner was pretty cool. All right, so let's see what else. AJ says, "Are my kids fan of Jurassic World as you've never seen the original films?" I did just buy the Blu-ray set of the Jurassic Park films, so I will start watching them. And yes, my kid doesn't see a lot of. My kid watches a lot of YouTube, and so he sees like he sees collection videos of like Jurassic World toys and Jurassic Park video games. So he watches a lot of stuff that he doesn't actually see. So my kid likes Jurassic World because of the Jurassic Park video games that he's watched on YouTube. So he watches playthroughs. My 6-year-old watches playthroughs on YouTube. Ooh, let's catch up here. Brian Short, Arn Anderson was the nicest wrestler I ever met. Met him a few weeks, only charged $30 for an autograph and a photo. Talked to my kid too, which was awesome. That's the bonus when the wrestler kind of hangs out with your kid a little bit. So I think going forward, any autographs or photo ops that I get with a wrestler, if I have the opportunity to bring my kid with me, I'm going to, because I think they're much more interactive with a kid, which is cool. I like that. David Torok, it's been too long since your last live stream, bro. By the way, I'm doing well, thank you. Yeah, it's been too long since a lot of stuff on YouTube. I mean, I you know, after hitting the 1,000 subs, then I applied to be the partner. I still haven't heard back yet, so it's like, you know, we're getting there. I'm gonna do part 2 of the TV show on DVD collection. I want to show you off the Ghostbusters figure collection, which I just completed. I want to do the Nintendo games of the 80s show. And tomorrow night, Monday night, I'm going to be putting, I won't show you the top. I'm putting this in the DVD player tomorrow night. And this is Championship Wrestling from January 1983. WWF Championship Wrestling from January 1983. We are going to be beginning the year in review, the much anticipated year in review. Tomorrow night, I have pulled it out and we are ready to go. JT, what's up, brother? Greetings from Denver. JT, what's up to you? Are you new to the channel? I have not seen JT in the house. If you are still here with us, introduce yourself. Tell us who you are. How did you find me? Welcome to the big show. Welcome to the new 80s revolution. Bearded Slasher says Jason is streaming from his Commodore 64. That is correct. I've actually, it looks more like an original Game Boy. I mean, this is terrible. No, I am not. I'm streaming from the ridiculously expensive iPhone 8 and staring at the iPhone, crystal clear, high definition. Staring at this Dell laptop over here, it looks like I'm underwater. Travis Tubbs says, glad to see how civil you are with your old host. It's nice to not see hate. Keep up the good work. Yeah, I mean, I don't hate the guy at all. I have no reason to. I didn't know him long enough to hate him. He wants to do his thing, and I want to do mine, and they didn't come together. My final take on it is it's two passionate guys who have a whole lot of ideas, and eventually it's going to blow up. If you have somebody who's a little bit more passive and passionate, then the passive guy follows the passionate guy. But if you have two passionate people, the worlds collide and it blows up, and that's what happened with us. Yeah, JT says the Intellivision. David Torok says some smartphones are really temperamental with video quality during the live streams. I've noticed. Yeah, I know. I mean, I've got like the second newest, latest phone, so I don't know why I'm getting this crappy live stream. Oh, let's see. What else have we got here? It's 10 o'clock. We're probably going to go to 10:30 tonight, guys, so we'll hang out for another half hour. So, JT, love the Crossfire game you reviewed. Can't believe the pucks are $20 a piece. Yeah, the Crossfire game. For those who are wondering, I'm not gonna mention Fireball Island, but the Crossfire game, I actually picked up just the base and the box for $10 at a flea market 2 years ago, and then they make pretty much make like custom marbles, custom balls, and they're the exact same. They're the same dimensions, everything. So you can go on eBay and you can actually buy a bag of custom Crossfire balls. But then the pucks are actually difficult to find. So I had to grab those, and those alone cost more than the game that I got at the flea market. So, but for $20 or so, $25, I completed a Crossfire set, which I'll do that all day. Devin Cutmore, what do you think about Hogan back in the Hall of Fame? Apparently WWE signed contract, or going to be signed contract. Might have already happened. I don't watch current WWE. And then same, AJ wants to know, Hogan back at WrestleMania next year then or before? I would definitely say they might hold off Hogan to WrestleMania for the pop. I don't know. How do I feel about him back? Great. It's Hulk Hogan. I mean, he's done dumb stuff. He said dumb stuff. I mean, he's got a porno out there with his best friend's wife. He's on film, spouting off some racist comments. Yeah, I don't want to get into a whole political debate or whatever, but we say dumb stuff all the time. People say stuff. We do dumb stuff. We say dumb stuff. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's who we are in our soul. Should his entire legacy have been wiped away by what he said? No, I don't think so. I don't know. We live in a very sensitive time right now, and anyway, yeah, don't say dumb stuff. But does he have to be erased from the world? No. Am I thrilled that he's back in the WWE? Yes, of course. I think that's great. Next. Gary Furr in the house. Hey, brother, good to see you. I only let my son watch YouTube Kids now. Yeah. I told you before, I did a... What did I do? I talked about TV a minute ago. When did I have... Oh, when I did my TV shows on DVD video, part 1, I talked about how, I only kept DirecTV for the Yes Network and the Madison Square Garden Network and Disney Junior for my kids. Well, now all of the Disney Junior shows are on Netflix and Prime and Hulu, so I really only pay for satellite now for the Yes Network and Madison Square Garden Network. And yeah, YouTube has become the new television, which I think is amazing. So my 6-year-old enjoys video game playthroughs. He enjoys unboxings. He watches kids. There's a millionaire kid out there. I don't know who he is, but he you've probably seen him. A little, little Asian kid who lives in Australia and unboxes toys, and he's got multiple millions of views. I mean, the kid is wealthy, and my 6-year-old loves watching his stuff. Bearded Slasher says, my best friend surprised me with a Kane autograph personalized to me. He went to a convention that I wasn't able to make it and got one for me. Kane thanked me for being a huge fan of his. That's awesome. Personalized autographs, that's the way to go for me. I mean, autographs don't really go for much on eBay, so I'm not going to sell an autograph. So I really like it personalized. When I met Hogan, he signed the LJN to me personally, so that makes me even more proud of that. That it's autographed personally to me. JT says this is his first live stream. Well, welcome. We're glad you're here. We do this every so often. Where did we leave off? Let's see. Eric Munoz, 83, great place to begin. I became a fan in September or October of that year. Yeah, so the WWF January 1983, we'll be looking at house shows. I have a ton of those. And we'll be looking at the TV shows, WWF Championship Wrestling. 83, I was going to start in 84, and somebody suggested I start in 83, and they're right, because 83 is a major transitional year for the WWF. Not as huge of a transitional year as 84 or 85, but still a very big transitional year for them. They were right on the cusp of national expansion. So you started to see it. 83 WWF was, little signs that this thing was going to become massive. Vince McMahon Sr. was still around. Junior had not yet begun running the show yet, and you just saw guys trickle in. End of 83, Iron Sheik gets the belt from Bob Backlund, and then Hogan. So we're off and running. So 83 is a good year to start, which we will. In what format, I don't know. I'm probably going to, what my idea, and let me know if you think it's good, my idea is, since I can't show footage on YouTube, I'm basically going to show pictures, so stills, and I'll find them. I'll just Google search them. But so if the match is between Don Morocco and Special Delivery Jones, I will introduce the match. I will talk about the match. I will talk about anything interesting that happened. If it's a 2-minute squash, then I'm gonna talk for 20 seconds about it. But I'll also include some photos of the guys who were involved. So match number 1, Don Morocco versus SD Jones. Photo of Don Morocco, photo of SD Jones. I'll come back, talk about it. But my plan is to go through the entire episode, highlighting some of the funnier points of commentary, highlighting some interesting things that happened in the match, interesting things coming from the crowd, announcements, interviews. So I'm basically gonna, tear down the whole episode and talk about, some of the cool stuff that I see. So that's the idea for the year in review. JT says, I've been watching your vids for about 8 months now. First time commenting and first live stream. Well, thank you. That's awesome. The lesson to be learned, my man, is to be involved in the channel. The thing I love most about doing this is interacting with you guys. So we've had, a lot of great conversations. I consider many of you guys friends. I'm sure I'm going to see you all and meet you someday. People have been sending me stuff, which is mind-blowing. So interact, leave comments in the videos if you are so inclined to do so. It is 10:09. We're going to go for 20 more minutes because I'm hungry. JT says, I so want Airwolf on DVD. Great show. You probably saw episode 1 or part 1 of my TV shows on DVD. I have it. It's still sealed. I haven't cracked it open yet. We're going to give it a watch soon. And it's cheap. I think you can, I still think you can grab it for less than 40 bucks somewhere. Bearded Slasher says, we have all said or done stuff in the past. Yeah, so we're talking about Hulk Hogan. I think the general consensus throughout the community is that he, deserves a second chance. I think that the consensus through all communities, not just the, white community or wrestling fan community. I think overall, I mean, he's gotten a lot of support from non-white wrestlers or fans, friends of his in the business. So it's not just a white, not just white people are supporting him. And there are some people who are against him coming back and don't feel that he, but again, people say stuff. Should my whole point was should Hulk Hogan, basically the one person who created this entire industry, and made it, if there was no Hulk Hogan, where would we be? Where would wrestling be? So can we eliminate this person entirely because of language that he's used? All right. David Torok says, speaking of board games, I wanted to buy the Betty Boop collection edition of Monopoly, but it's disgustingly expensive. I have not seen how expensive that is. I know that Monopoly has a couple of, special editions. I didn't know Betty Boop was one of them. JT says, thoughts on GoBots versus Transformers? I don't have a lot of thoughts on them. I'm fine with both. The thing with me is, though, as a kid, Transformers or GoBots were the absolute bottom of the list as far as toys went for me. I had no interest in robot cars unless you could wrestle with them. So if I had gotten some Transformers, I would probably wrestle with them because that's all I ever did or played with as a kid was wrestling figures. So I had some G.I. Joes, I had some Turtles, I had some, I had some starting lineup figures, but the only thing I ever got into to play with was wrestling figures. Yes, Brian, I have seen those. So Mattel is putting out legend figures, retro figures, and they come in a box, a very nice collector's box that looks like a WWF arcade game. The Retro Fest, I think they're called, because the arcade game was called WrestleFest. So they're putting the figures in a Retro Fest packaging, and it comes basically an arcade box. They look fantastic. I'm not collecting any new Mattel figures except for the Hasbro style, but if I was, I would be on those because they look amazing in that packaging. JT says, let's see. I lost you. JT says, do you remember the show Small Wonder with that robot girl? Kind of creepy now that I rewatch it. Yeah, I do remember Small Wonder. I think it was a very short-lived show. Legs falling asleep. I think it was a season or two. But yeah, the the little robot girl, Small Wonder. Absolutely. I think it's if it was one season, I'm pretty sure it's out on DVD. If it was 2 seasons, I think they've only made one. They've only released 1 season. Bearded Slasher says, we could trade autographs one day. Side note, my name is Jason too. Oh, cool. Very cool, Bearded Slasher. Yeah. Send me your autograph and I'll send you mine. No problem. David Torok, although you wouldn't exactly expect it from a guy like me because of how much I cuss, the group YT channel that I'm a part of is completely family friendly. Yeah, David does. Go check out David Torok. He's a talented musician. He's a talented singer. He's a talented guitar player. He is turning into now a songwriter, apparently, David, I saw. An artist. Been on YouTube since probably 1943, I think, David. Was very early on in YouTube. So go check out my man, David, and he's a friend of mine. Nice guy. Travis Tubbs says, what are you thinking about doing for your next not live video? Good question. One of two things. My next not live video is either going to be a low budget TV show on DVD collection part 2, or a higher budgeted video games of the 80s show. And that would go back to the style of videos that Chris and I did, and then I did a few after he left. So, you know, the commercials spliced in, and you know, about an hour and a half or so, hour and 10 minutes, hour and a half. Video games of the 80s is going to be me talking about my experience with Atari, Nintendo, the NES, and arcade games. I would be talking about probably my top 10 Nintendo games in that show. And I can promise you that my top 10 Nintendo games are not anything similar to the common top 10 lists that you see. Because I was kind of a unique video game player. I didn't put a lot of time or effort into gaming as a kid. So, you know, my top 10 list is not going to have Metroid or Zelda or Super Mario 3 on it, or any of the more common top 10 games. In fact, here's a little spoiler. One of the games in my top 10 is called Bases Loaded. And it's basically a baseball game. But there's stories. There's you know, and I know that's why you guys are here, for the stories. But there's a story behind Bases Loaded, and why I think it's, you know, why it's one of my favorite games. So that's coming too. That's one of 2 shows that are coming up. And plus, like I said, I'm going to start reviewing the WWF 1983, and here is disc 1 that is going to be going in the DVD player tonight or tomorrow. All right, Bearded Slasher. I'm still in the hunt for a Pee Wee Herman pull string doll. Got him. $10. AJ says 310 here, up at 8. AJ, you are the most committed follower of the revolution. 3 o'clock in the morning in the beautiful UK, and you have to be up at 8. You, sir, are an animal. Go to bed. Go to bed, AJ. Brian Short says, ever get around to watching the A-Team? Nope, not yet. I'm finishing up Dallas for the 4th time. I've got like 4 more seasons to go of Dallas. I watch a couple episodes a night, so it shouldn't be that long. And then A-Team is next, because I mentioned earlier, somebody asked, what am I going to do after I collect the Ghostbusters figures? I'm going to hit Rambo, and then I'm going to hit the A-Team. So I'm probably going to swap those 2, and I'm probably going to watch the A-Team and collect the figures. So A-Team will be the next TV show on DVD that I watch, and we will talk about it along the way. Ring Skirt says, did you see that the next season of The Toys That Made Us is featuring wrestling episode? I did, and that excites me. That excites me a lot, and it makes me nervous too, because I don't want to see anybody talking bad or talking nonsense or not getting their facts right, but then I also want to see like stuff that I never knew existed. I don't know. Who knows? I'm nervous about the show. I want to tell you guys something real quick. I wasn't supposed to tell you, and I wasn't gonna tell you until it happened. But a while ago, I was mentioning that there were some interesting things happening with me and the channel, that people were contacting me to do some stuff. Well, I think it's probably dead now, so I can tell you There, about a year and a half ago, a major channel, and I won't say the channel just because if it does happen, then they get mad at me, but a major, I don't know if it's worldwide, but national television channel, cable channel, reached out to me through YouTube and basically interviewed me and had me send in some video footage, and then I was chosen to be on their show. So basically I was going to go to New York City and I was going to film an episode of a show, and my collection was going to be showcased. So basically it was just a show about collections, and I was the 80s toy guy. But like with anything in TV world, the production dates have changed. They've been delayed. It was supposed to be February of 2018. Actually, it was supposed to be mid 2017. That never happened. It was supposed to be February of 18. That never happened. And then the last contact I had with them was around March or April, when they said it's just pushed back again and we don't know when it's happening. So my guess is it's dead, but for a little while I was going to hit national television with the collection. For the collection, I was, I don't know what they were going to talk about or ask me, but they were wanting me to bring a few major pieces of my collection to showcase on the show, and then obviously interview me. I don't know if they were going to come here and take footage or if I was going to bring them footage, but I was going to be on TV, boys and girls, on a major television network that, has stuff like, I don't know what the heck is on the channel. I don't know. I think it was the History Channel anyway. The History Channel was gonna do something, and I think it's dead. So my 15 minutes of fame came and went. All right. Let's see. Brian Short, have you seen the Golden Girls figures coming out from NECA? Yep, absolutely. NECA is slowly becoming one of my favorite lines. I love all of the Friday the 13th figures. I love the Nightmare on Elm Street figures. And now they have the Golden Girls coming out. They also have the Karate Kid figures coming out. Unfortunately, with Toys R Us closing, and there is no FYE in my area, I can't find NECA figures in stores. I thought I read that Target was going to link up with NECA and have a little section, like an adult section, outside of the toy section. But if you're going to a toy show, NECA is always readily available at toy shows. So I'll still be able to get them. Gary Furr is here. What's up, Gary? Gary came in late. Did you already talk about Nikolai Volkoff? He is a part of my first ever LJM purchase. Hogan versus Volkoff thumb wrestlers. All those guys. Yeah, man, I did talk about it. And Brian Christopher, Brickhouse Brown, Nikolai Volkoff. But of those guys, Nikolai, that hits home. The childhood. He was a big part of the wrestling that I was watching on TV at the time in the WWF. Sheik and Volkoff were tag team champions. WrestleMania 1 against Wyndham and Rotundo. I mean, they, singing the Russian national anthem, which I later read had nothing to do with the Russian national anthem. Yeah, that one, that's sad. That's really sad. It sucks. Nikolai Volkoff has passed away. Eric says, any storylines that stick out from your LJN Federation? Aha! The next topic, boys and girls. So this is the next show idea that I have. I already reviewed all of my LJN figures. You know, you guys, that's how most of you guys found me. But what I wanted to do, and again, give me your thoughts on it, your honest thoughts. What I wanted to do was do it again. I wanted to, and you can kind of see them behind me. I wanted to review, I wanted to pull my LJNs out and review the figures with you again. Maybe taking a little bit of a closer look at the figure, you know, getting, you know, maybe a different camera view, maybe really sort of zooming in on the figure. But more importantly, I wanted to talk about the play and my childhood of playing with these figures and the champions that I had and the storylines that I made and the heel turns and the face turns and some of the crazy matches I had and did Terry Funk really pile drive Hulk Hogan off the top of a steel cage onto the concrete floor? Did he really do that? You know, the tag teams that I made. Why did I team SD Jones, Corporal Kirshner, and Don Morocco together? Why was that a tag team? A six-man tag team that would swap between, you know, two guys, each two would bounce it. Why were those three a faction in my LJN Federation? And of course, SD Jones wasn't called SD Jones. You know, why did I call Don Morocco Mike Rotundo in my federation? So that is coming if you want it. Guys, I played with these things from age 9 to probably embarrassingly 16. So we've got almost a decade of storylines. Like I said, champions, who held the belt, who was my heavyweight champions in the LJN Federation. Did somebody ridiculously crazy hold the title at some point? There was a manager that I used as a wrestler and gave him a wrestling name, but he was a manager. One of the manager figures I used as a wrestler. Yeah, that's, if you're interested in that, and some of the feedback is yes, but if you're interested in that, that will be coming up very soon. Memories of LJN play, while showing you, you know, a closer look at the figures. So yes, I love that idea. Bearded Slasher, who's your favorite current wrestler? Mine is Braun Strowman. He deserves the title run now. I like Braun. I don't know. I mean, I like Bobby Roode. I like him being able to have a shot at the big stage. I like Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish. I like that group in NXT. You know, I like a lot of the guys that did more indie stuff and then got famous. So let's see here. Where's my questions? All right. Let's see. Bases loaded is awesome. Yes. I bet one of your top 10 is Marble Madness. Marble Madness is a pretty good game, but I don't know if it made the top 10. David says, thank you for the plug. You're such a good man for sharing your fans with me. Of course. We'll go check them out. 90210 says, yep, those Karate Kids are looking good. Can't wait to get my hands on those. NECA did sign a deal with Target. Yep, that's good. Ring Skirts, Eric Muñez, Devin Cutmore, they all want to hear the epic LJN childhood stories. So yes, of course, I will bring that information to you because I mean, that's what this whole channel was all about. That's what this whole channel originated as, was just like, you know, reliving the childhood memories. And I don't have stories about other toy lines. I don't have like GI Joe, classic GI Joe stories, because I didn't care. But I spent an entire childhood, every night. I mean, I honestly, I mean, I can't say for sure. I can't remember that far back, but I would not go a day or two without touching these figures. There was not a period of time longer than a day or two where I wasn't sitting down and playing with these guys. So I'll tell you all about that. Bearded Slasher says, I still play with my action figures and I'm 34. No shame here. I agree 100%. Ring Skirt says, no shame, I'm 35 and I played yesterday. 100%, guys. If I, you know, at night when my kids go to bed and I got nothing to do, you know, I'm pretty much just done and I kind of just lay on the couch and watch TV. But, you know, there would be no shame in me recreating or reestablishing, kicking the doors down, breaking the lock on the LJN arena and getting that thing going again. I would easily do that today at 42 years old. Of course I would. And because the memories are so fresh that I could pick right up where I left off, you know, with Terry Funk and Cowboy Bob Orton as a tag team. As Jimmy Snuka was never Jimmy Snuka because he was long gone by the time I was playing with these figures. So Jimmy Snuka was always a different, like, Samoan. He was like, Jimmy Snuka was Siva Afi, who some of you guys might not ever remember. But anyway, I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it because that's such a great show idea. I'm going to save it. Let's see. Good. Travis is down with a second review of the figures. Again, a second review of the figures with more talk of my actual experience with them as a kid. I won't just say, okay, you know, this is George Steele and toss them. I'm gonna really get into the play memories. Devin Cutmore says, have you ever played Life Force for NES? Yep, I love it. It's a pretty, that's a good game. I like Life Force. Brian Short says, I still play with my LJNs. In fact, Piper won the belt last night. By the way, I used to always pretend Greg Valentine was Ric Flair. That's a good one. I'm glad Piper is your new LJN heavyweight champion. Congratulations. That's fantastic. Devin Cutmore, 37, still a kid at heart. Bearded Slasher, I'm headed out. Have a good night, buddy. Bearded Slasher, take care, my man. Thank you for stopping by. Always enjoy your hanging out with us and your comments. So thank you for hanging out. Go to sleep. Good night. I'm going soon too. Another 5 or 10 minutes. Eric Munoz, I had Funker and Orton as a tag team as well. There we go. There we go, Eric. Yeah. Terry Funk, Cowboy Bob Orton. Ready for this? I'm going to give you a little spoiler. Terry Funk, Cowboy Bob Orton teamed up. They were managed by Mr. Fuji for some reason. And the tag team name that I created, I made it all by myself. The Wild Desperados. Yeah. Terry Funk, Cowboy Bob Orton, managed by Mr. Fuji, the Wild Desperados. Multi-time LJN Tag Team Champions. Big Beefcake is back. He can't sleep. I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm also glad you're back. Flashback Pack. Wait a second. Who is Flashback Pack? Flashback Pack says, the thing that makes your videos great are the stories you share with your collectibles. Good stuff, Jason. Well, thank you very much. But who are you? Flashback Pack. I have not seen that name at all ever on my videos. So welcome and thank you for your comments and thank you for hanging out with us. David Torok is 24, but I've been told I act like a 13-year-old. I have no comment on that, David. Yes, Eric Munoz, the Wild Desperados do rule. They ruled the ranks, the tag team ranks of the LJN Federation. Funky Monk. Late to the party, but just saying hello and good night. I'll have to watch this tomorrow. Funky, if you're still here. We thanked everybody. We celebrated 1,000, and there would never be 1,000 without number 1. And you, sir, were so early in the subscriber list. So thank you a million times for being one of my first subscribers. And 2 years later, you're still hanging out with me. And that's awesome. Thank you. Who's scruffy looking? What's up, Jason? What's up? Who's scruffy looking? And who the heck are you? Welcome to the big show. Have not seen your name in any comments. Who are you? How did you find the channel? Welcome aboard. Welcome to the revolution. Who's scruffy looking? I dig. I'm scruffy looking. How'd you find me? Flashback Pack. Are you still here? How'd you find me? Welcome to the show. I'm glad you guys are here. Comments have caught up. That never happens. Travis Tubbs says, great show tonight, man. Thank you, Travis. Great that you're here. Flashback Pack says, first time caller, long time listener. Got it. Thanks. Awesome. First time caller, long time listener. I love it. Gary Furr, in your Fed, did Stud ever slam Andre? Whew, I can't remember. Can't remember. That one I can't remember. I don't remember, but I'll think and we'll talk. We'll there's so many memories that are stored up here of LJN play. We'll get into it. Fun stuff, crazy stuff. Who's scruffy looking? One of your first subscribers. Oh, cool. Did you have a different name back then? I know YouTube people change their name a lot. But who's scruffy looking says he was one of my first subscribers. That's cool. Earlier in the show tonight, I thanked everybody for getting me to 1,000. And like I just told the Funky Monk, can't get 1,000 without 1. So thank you to all of my early subscribers. You guys, your support of this channel and what I do kept it going. Like I've said a bunch of times, if some of those early conversations that I had with people, some of the feedback and support, and really early on, I had people like Xavier Sherwood and Joker, I always get it wrong, Joker 68, sending me stuff, you know. So early on, that feedback kept me going. So if it wasn't for some of the early people, I wouldn't be doing this anymore. Stud slamming Andre is sacrilegious. I agree, Eric. I agree. David Torok says, you got it, dude. And we're getting down to it, man. It's 10:38. We're down to 15 viewers. And again, oh, no, wait, 26 viewers. It's actually the most we've had tonight. Devin says, thank you, Jason. Thank you, Devin. You've been an early subscriber as well. You got a great story behind your, you hanging out with me and whatever my little, silly conversations do for you is very, humbling. Nice to hear. So thanks. So we got more people joining as I'm wrapping up. We'll do this again. We'll a couple months or a month. I don't want to overkill it, but if you guys want more frequent live shows, just let me know. We can do them. AJ90210 talks a lot about, topics. Tonight we were kind of supposed to talk about wrestling scandals, but we just get off and running, and I just end up hanging out with you guys, which is, I prefer that actually more, as long as you guys are entertained by it. But we're going to be doing TV shows on DVD collection part 2. We're going to be doing video games of the 80s, a sort of an official new 80s revolution episode. I'm going to start watching WWF 1983 tonight or tomorrow night and start that long-awaited year in review series. The new idea that we came up with tonight was that I'm going to revisit the LJN collection with more of a focus on play and my memories of playing with the figures as a kid. AJ says, I need my own episode on controversies. Agreed. Agreed, 100%. And I think last time we talked about doing it live so that we can engage, but my guess is that if we did a live version of it, there would be lots of other talk going on as well. So I can just sit around and drink some beers and film myself talking about scandals if you'd like, and then we can just have a blast in the comment section. I mean, it's up to you. Oh, I think I know what you mean. Did I just screw up that joke, AJ? I think I just messed up that joke. I do. I need like an True Hollywood story of the new 80s revolution, the former 80s revolution, the invasion, and now the reincarnation. Boys and girls, obviously just boys, I am wrapping it up. No joke, I meant what you said. Oh, okay. I thought you meant the controversy of the show. Yeah, okay, yeah, let's do it. Let's do a wrestling controversies show. I'll write some stuff down. Just topic, just sort of guidelines of topics. We'll talk about Snuka. We'll talk about Benoit. We'll talk about Brody. We'll talk about the Von Erichs. And there's a couple others that I'll throw in there just for just to cover briefly. Magnum TA is a controversy. Is a not a controversy, but a really messed up story. We'll talk about that too. Eric Munoz is heading out. Eric, good night, sir. Thank you. Longtime follower of mine. Thank you. Brian Short says, great show tonight, Jason. Hope you come back soon. You rock harder than Jonathan Davis. Nobody brings it harder than Jonathan Davis. AJ never jokes. No, you're right. I know. You're serious pretty much 100% of the time. Devin Cutmore, gotta go. I'm at a beautiful woman's house and I'm ignoring her for over an hour to watch this. What? Devin. Gary Furr, love the show. Our best to the family, brother. Thank you, brother, and best to your family. It cometh a egg. Thanks for the chat. Jason, take it easy, bro. Cheers. Cheers to you. It cometh a egg. And yes, it does. It cometh a egg. Devin Cutmore, this was another awesome show. I know, because I have awesome people that watch the show and chat about the show. That's what makes the show awesome. You freaks, you fans of the New 80s Revolution make this show awesome. Thank you all very much. I'm hungry. There's a whole bunch of leftovers upstairs from a birthday party, and I can't wait to put them all in my face. Ring Skirt says good night. Good night. Till we meet again. RetroCon, Ring Skirts, RetroCon, we gotta get it. She can wait. No, she can't. Get on that. I mean, don't get on that. That's family friendly. Make her a nice dinner. Give her a back rub. Good night, everybody. I am checking out. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for hanging out. You know how I do this. I can't. It takes me too long to say goodbye, but I'm getting there. It has been emotional. Look at me. I'm reaching for the phone. There's that little X. I'm about to press it. I'm about to press the X. David is still here. It's a beautiful woman. Gave her my drop every. I agree. Okay, I'm pressing it. Oh God, it's almost over, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Love you all. You got me to 1,000. You're the greatest fans in the world. I love you all.